Well, good morning, Oj. We are here in Studio 1A again today, out in the garage. A little intro music today coming at the beginning because we got yet another loss of somebody that we grew up with.
Well, he's a little before us.
He is, but you still grew up with the Beach Boys.
Those were iconic songs. That group. I was never a huge Beach Boy guy,
but you weren't anti-Beach Boy.
No. But everybody knew those songs somehow, right? It was just the popularity of them, and they certainly had their own little unique style. Like Jimmy Buffett's got the beaches and the islands and the Keys or whatever, right? The Beach Boys had their thing, and their main guy, Brian Wilson, everything I've read about him and different quotes and comments from the people in the rock industry, they throw out the word genius with him. So I think a lot of it goes back to that album Pet Sounds, which was probably anywhere you look, it's going to be top 5 to top 3 of the greatest rock albums, of all time. He was a different dude. I think there were some mental health issues and stuff there. I know he had kind of a troubled life growing up. His dad was tough on him and whatnot. But there's a documentary, movie on him. John Cusack played him.
I did not.
I can't remember what the hell that was called. It was pretty decent though. But Brian Wilson. I almost thought we should do a LTL for the Beach Boys and for him. And the one song, and I just mentioned how we knew all those Beach Boys songs. The one song I didn't really know is the one that people talk about as being one of the greatest written love ballads of all time. God Only Knows. Do you know the song?
Probably, but I don't.
Yeah, so that of all those songs, this is the one everybody talks about that he was just so great at, and the writing, and Paul McCartney said it's the greatest love ballad ever written, blah, blah, blah. And that's probably the one I should have played, but I didn't because I don't know the song real well, but I did listen to it a little bit. It's a hell of a song, there's no doubt about it. So, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys passed away, 82 years old.
Okay. And we got to start off this show with the old Mark Leaf tip of the cap.
Do we start off every show with a Mark Leaf tip of the cap?
Well, there's a lot of things that we got to recognize. You know, the Escanaba Eskimos girls softball team fell in the semifinals to Richmond, and then the Norway Knights boys baseball team, they fell in the semifinals to Portland St. Patrick.
They got shut out, eh?
Yeah, both teams did. Escanaba lost 2-0. I actually watched both of them, believe it or not.
Did you?
I saw part of the end of the Eski game. They had a throwing error that gave up 2 runs. And then Norway was just kind of outmanned by Portland St. Pat's. Both of those teams did go on to win the state title. So they lost to the teams that ultimately were the winners. But Mark Leaf, tip of the cap to those programs for their successes at this point of the year.
For sure. Hey, happy Father's Day, Crouchy.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, Oj. It's going to be a great day for you and I, right?
Heart's chicken.
Yeah.
That's what's coming up for me. I'm
going to the ATM.
Nobody's making my food today. I'm out there over the charcoal grill, dumping the beer. Probably your beer, actually. I'm not wasting a Miller Lite on charcoal. But I got to keep that flame, got to keep the flames down.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Anybody who doesn't know what Oj is talking about, Heart's chicken is second to none.
Yeah, that's going down today. So, and you guys are going out this afternoon?
Twice. Happy Father's Day. We're going to deviate a little bit from the plan here. I don't have much on my lesson plan because the other day when we were hot tubbing, you were piecing together quite the lesson plan. And then I tried to look at it and it didn't make any sense to me. So we're going to kind of let you take the lead on this.
I sent you a picture of this, right?
Yeah, show our fans the lesson plan.
Before we get into that, did you see that fancy truck I just pulled in? Thank you, Copper Country Ford and the crew. Ricky took care of me again. Had to make that. I don't know. Did we talk about this before? That I was debating it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So that, the old truck was great, 54,000 miles on it, but it was either put some money into it, which I think it needed to be done, but or trade. And it still got some value to it. So we pulled off a trade, and that's a 2004. 24. Holy hell, are we on it today?
That still seems new to me.
Yeah, 2024, but there's just a couple miles on it, so I'm pumped. It's a nice truck.
The best part about this is I just took a quick peek in there, and you know how the backup screens on there? Oj has like a full computer screen in there. It's not the little backup camera. It's like literally a full TV screen in there. I can't wait to hear the stories while you try to get that thing to work.
Yeah, and I have no clue how to change stations on it. I guess I got certain Sirius XM stations programmed in, so I'm good there. But other than that, we'll have to have some fun tomorrow there in the passenger seat. You can play with it a little bit. And then of course yesterday, and I'm not shitting here, I almost got sideswiped. I mean, this is day 2 of that truck, and I'm parked on the street in Hancock, right by the shuttle dock, right in front of the doors. So, like the good driver, cautious driver that I am, I check my driver's side mirror, nothing in my lane coming. The only vehicles coming on the opposite side of the road, there's 2 of them, right? And they're still down there at Bowie's. So I put my blinker on, like you should do as you're
Did you
pulling.
put your left arm out the window to indicate a left turn?
No, windows were shut because it was 54, 53 degrees or something. Rotten weather, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting old. Anyway, so I start to pull out, and this clown in the black Suburban like yours starts pulling over to the right lane
Oh boy.
to pass. Okay, pulling into the passing lane.
Yep.
Right as I'm starting to pull out. So it was close. And I don't even know if he saw me as quickly as I saw him. Hit those brakes, deep breath, looked at Jen, I just shook my head, I couldn't believe it. That's how close that was.
Didn't that new computer screen in there indicate that there was a car within a certain radius?
No, it was, I think the little light on the driver's side mirror started blinking furiously.
Oh, is that gonna annoy you?
Man. So yeah, that was a close one. Of course, then there's, I think, every single deer from at the start of Lake Annie Road all the way down to the Boston Crosscut, all the way down to Salo, all the way down to Calumet Waterworks were on the edge of the road as I drove that back the first day. I mean, they were all over.
Well, they all wanted to see the new truck.
They didn't see it. They didn't see it from the front grill or anything. So
I noticed the front grille is rocking the cowboy license plate right now.
it's back. It's I even cleaned it up. Took all the bugs off it from the last time I had it on there. Cleaned it up, put it on, and we'll see. The betting odds right now have it off by week 6. So we'll see how it goes.
It's optimism. What else you got on that lesson plan?
Oh man. Well, this will probably piss some people off, but I think we should discuss tennis a little bit.
Absolutely. Did you ever play tennis?
No.
I actually like playing tennis. We actually used to play it as kids. Nothing like organized, but just go down to the courts and play. And
Did you bounce it when you served, or did you toss it?
No. I had the over the top with the spin serve that kind of looked like a hard slider coming in.
You did not.
I sure did. I got a tennis racket in this garage here somewhere too.
So Alcaraz and Sinner, I don't know if they were 1 and 2 in the world ranked, but I think Sinner was 1. I don't know where Alcaraz was. Probably 2. They're probably right up there. I mean, you hear about these guys all the time. Now I watched about 8 minutes of it, which probably sets a new tennis record for me. Beating the old record was McEnroe and Borg back in '84. Or McEnroe and Lendl, I'm not sure. But these guys played for 5.5 hours in that French Open match, and all the pundits, all the sports people that I listen to have said that is probably, if not the greatest tennis match of all time, it's one of the top 2.
Really?
Yeah. So I want to get your thoughts on that.
I didn't watch it obviously, but I've always had a soft spot for the French Open. Not because I like the French, but they play it out of clay. And I remember watching tennis, and I did actually used to watch tennis. I actually, not going to lie to you, I did play tennis more than most people would think. But remember Michael Chang?
Oh yeah.
Back we were probably in high school at the time, and he won, and they're playing on that clay surface. I always kind of wanted to play on that and just see what it was like. I mean, we always played on like the concrete that had the cracks in it and the grass going through it. But I would be interested to play tennis on that clay surface.
Why do you think of Michael Chang of all people?
Because he was like really young and won the...
Quick, like good returner of the serve? Right?
Yeah, but he was a young kid that won that.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was young. He was probably around our age, within a year.
When we were young, that was Jimmy Connors, McEnroe, Bjorn Borg,
Andre Agassi.
Yeah, he came a little later.
Yeah.
that was Agassi-Sampras. Those
Yep.
are the big matchups, right? But I mentioned Yvonne Lendl. Didn't he wear like the same kind of shirt all the time?
Yes, he was.
Some color or pattern or something that was odd about that.
I don't remember what it was, but that does sound very familiar.
Yeah, so those were those guys in the 80s, and then, you know, as we got older, it was Agassi, Pete Sampras. Who was the redheaded guy that came along, never quite got to,
That's not Bjorg.
no, younger than him.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell.
Anyway,
I remember, I did tell you, I went to a professional tennis match one time.
yeah, that's right.
All right, is that enough tennis?
I like the women's game better anyway.
Yeah, the women's tennis probably has been more exciting to watch with the Williams girls. And
Not to mention the noises that they make when they
Yeah.
serve. Can't beat that.
all right, now for anybody that has not turned this show off, what else you got today, Oj?
Well, I think in the sports world, the couple things we got to mention here. First of all, the Knicks lose to the Indiana Pacers, which with every win that the Pacers get, this gets more hilarious to me.
This is great.
Yeah. So they get beat in 6, I believe. Indiana won that round in 6. Eastern Conference Finals, by the way, right?
Correct.
So you're one step away from the NBA Finals. The Knicks haven't been there in 25 years. They haven't gotten to that point. But they got there this year, led by Coach Tom Thibodeau, and lost in 6 games to a team that could very well win the NBA championship.
And it was a great series with the Knicks.
One
and
hell of a
Pacers.
series. And yeah, exactly. A couple of free throws, that ridiculous shot that Halliburton hit the back iron and shot straight up in the air and came down. Little things like that don't work out in the Pacers' way. Is Tom Thibodeau fired after that series?
That might be one of the more shocking things we've encountered in quite some time, is that Tibbs is fired,
Yeah.
which is a drama in itself. But what's unfolding right now is, I actually love it. This is actually, they deserve everything they get here.
Well, talk about not having a plan. You know, they just do the knee-jerk reaction, and you hear all the rumors of, you know, who was involved with this and who was the one that pulled the strings to get him out of there. Initially, it sounded like it was a dipshit, Jim Dolan, that owns them. Who doesn't know? I mean, he wouldn't know, like I'll use a line from Mad Dog, he wouldn't know Bill Russell if it bit him in the head. That's something he'd say. Then those other guys in the mornings will play it over to rip on him. But yeah, so I don't know if it's Dolan or the GM, who apparently was a Tibbs guy that got him in there. Then you hear all the grumblings that Karl Anthony Towns was a big whiner and couldn't handle him. He was too tough on the guys. Tibbs wears on you a little bit, blah, blah, blah. So who knows what led to it, but I mean, my goodness. And then, like you were saying, they just decide, okay, well, we're going to go, let's check out so-and-so on this team. We're going to contact so-and-so on this team. They're not allowed to.
Do you think the Knicks have a higher opinion of themselves than the rest of the world
I
does?
would say so. Certainly higher than we do.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Like you said, knee jerk. So they're gonna. Who are they hiring? They think the rest of the world is gonna bow down to them, and the other team's like, no, you're not talking to our coach.
So now they got, is it Mike Brown, who's bounced around? I think he's one of them that's supposed to meet, and I can't even think of the other guy's name. But
Maybe they should get Patrick Ewing in there.
yeah. So anyway, funny stuff. But that leads us to the NBA Finals. I think we're looking at a 7-gamer here. Boy, I'll tell you what. Between that and the hockey, it's been really good. You know, these games are really good.
You've watched the hockey
I've
games?
had it on, well, especially last night when I had some cash on it. Is 5 plus 2, 7?
It is.
Is 7 more than 6.5?
It is.
Ching!
That's how you can afford this new truck.
Woo! Yep, so that was good. We had that on for a bit last night. I think that's 3-2 Florida now.
Yeah, and they've been pretty good games. I haven't watched all of them, but I've been able to, when I sit down in the evenings at the end of the games, and I was watching the other night where they scored with less than a minute to go to tie it and send it to overtime.
Yeah, is Edmonton's, so it's 3-2 Florida. Are the 2 Edmonton wins both in OT?
They very well may be.
Well, this was double OT the other night, right?
Right.
So 5-2 last night. So yeah, I think it's 3-2. And then the NBA side of it, I'm sure it's not getting the TV ratings that the Knicks would have got if they were in there. But I've enjoyed these games. They've been good battles. Everybody thought that Indiana was just going to be I think, rolled by OKC.
Yes.
And, you know, maybe five games, but this has got 7 written all over it now. With OKC winning last night, 2 nights ago, whatever that was, that game is going back now at 2-2 back to Oklahoma City. So you think they're going to get it done, go up 3-2 back to Indiana. The Pacers win at home 3-3, and then we'll go into Game 7 at Oklahoma City. So it really seems like the big thing for both teams in this is how the officials decide to call SGA. You know, how are they going to blow the whistle with him? Are they going to allow him to get to the free throw line 15 times with all his gimmicks that he pulls to get to the line? Or are they putting those whistles away, letting them play? That favors Indiana. But yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's entertaining. Even if, you know, like I said, I'm not a huge NBA fan, but the games have been entertaining. You know, not a lot of blowouts coming down to the wire. So, I mean, as a sports fan, that's really what you want to see. When you don't have any skin in the game, you want to see a good game, exciting game, and we're getting that, like I said, in the hockey and in the basketball.
Yeah. Then we got your former boy, Aaron Rodgers.
Do we have to talk about him?
The news. I mean, he's married.
Oh, good. Boy, should we send him a card from SS3TP?
Did you see the Twitter? Did those guys send that to you on, or was it, you were in that group? I don't know if Jesse sent it who, but it was that picture of Rodgers, the wedding day with himself in a tux.
I did not see that.
And the bride was Aaron Rodgers, beautiful dress. Yeah, so that drama is over for now, thank God, although it never seems to quit.
It'll be drama until he gets hurt, gets benched, or just says, I quit.
Well, I guess for Steelers fans, the only thing I can tell you is you probably have a better quarterback situation now than you did prior to the signing of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not sure what that means at this point, but
there's no doubt. If he just swallows his pride and is a good teammate, he can help the Steelers. Right? The Steelers have some pieces in place, but I'm not sold that the locker room is going to have his back. You know who he reminds me of right now? Remember the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves and there was the strike.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is a quarterback, and then the superstar quarterback comes back and is just a complete tool, and the guys hate him. That's kind of what I see with Pittsburgh. I hope it doesn't go that way. I do like Mike Tomlin. I like what the Steelers do. They've always been, you know, one of those tough, gritty organizations that find ways to win. But
how about this for prediction? The Steelers win 9 to 10 games, make it as a wild card team, and lose in the first round of the playoffs for the 15th straight year.
There's probably a good chance of that.
And Rodgers, it'll be Mason Rudolph quarterbacking the team in the playoffs. Mosquito on your head. All right, good.
Right, good.
Other than that, I thought about this Tarantino thing. We're going to go on a little bit of a movie chat here today, but I think we did this already. We can't be going on top 5 Tarantino.
Yeah, and I'm not a Tarantino. I don't really know a lot of them. I'm not, as you know, I'm not a big, huge movie guy.
I know we did that before, because I remember talking about Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards and Django and The Hateful Eight, and, well, there's my 4. I think I just did it. But we're not doing that. I think Luke was the one that brought that up, because he had a couple lines from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was that Brad Pitt was in there. And anyway, so yeah, I don't have a whole lot. A couple little things I did write down. NFL-wise, Jair Alexander was cut by the Packers. What's your thoughts on that?
See ya. Talent up the wazoo, but he's always hurt. He's not a good locker room guy, and I think they wanted him to take a pay cut or do something differently, because like I said, he's always hurt.
Yeah, he's never on the field.
He's talented, but at this point, you're probably better off long-term without him. No. 7 games in the last 2 years? Yeah, and that being said, he'll probably be healthy and have a great year. But
be a Pro Bowler for the Vikings.
But where the Packers are, you got, like I said, the locker room's got to be, the culture in that locker room's got to be top-notch, and see these people develop, and I just don't think he was a good fit with that for a couple of different reasons.
Wasn't he suspended actually for conduct detrimental to the team or something like that last year or 2 years ago, whatever? So, yeah, I don't know. Like you said, he's a Pro Bowl player when he's out there, but he's just not out there. So it's hard to blame the Pack for that. Nick Chubb running back, he signs with the Texans. But I think the other, as far as our local teams and our local listeners and whatnot, the Lions lost Ragnow.
Yeah,
to
that's
retirement.
good for him. I'm very happy that he is retiring.
Yeah.
There's no need to keep pushing your body past the point it can't go to. You retire with all your money and stay healthy, and I'm sure the Lions will find some scrub to put there. He was good. All kidding aside, he was a fantastic player. That's gonna hurt the Lions for sure.
Why do I have pasty talk written on here?
I don't know. Is it code for something?
I have no idea. Haven't we what the hell was I talking about?
We were talking about pasties, how I was at Vet Fest last week, and they had superette pasties, and we were talking about the new place by Bucko's that has them. I don't know if that was what.
Yeah, whatever. I think maybe it was about the potatoes.
Oh, the slicing.
Cube potato guy, the sliced potato in the pasty. Tony slices them. Superette, Jen's Kitchen, cube them.
Yes.
I haven't been to that new place yet, but
I haven't either. I didn't even know where it was. I've heard people talk about it. I heard it's.
I never remember the name of that. It's a bakery, right by
East
the L
Fork.
That's the pasty crew that comes and sells them out of it.
Yes. Well, I don't need the bakery. I'm not going to buy a bunt cake.
The bakery is bunt cake. Anyway, it's by the L, but they sell those East Fork pasties on whatever day it is. And people are lined up on the streets to go get those. So
I'm gonna have to try and give it a rip. Last couple pasties I've got from other places have not been good.
Boy, look at some of the stuff I scribbled on here. Holy crap! Looks like a 2-year-old did this. How about this one? Handkerchiefs and combs.
Oh yeah, this was a discussion topic the other night. I think our generation is the ones that put those to bed, right? Like as a kid growing up, boys always had the little combs in their pocket. I don't think you ever see kids with combs in their pockets.
I mean, would you die though if somebody, 25, 30-year-old guy, were hanging out at the Legion, and all of a sudden out comes a white handkerchief and just hammers on it, blows his nose in that thing, and then shoves it back in his pocket, and then an hour later, coming out the bathroom, oh, got another one, pulls the same handkerchief back out. I mean, that's what people did.
Yeah. I remember being...
Grown-ups did this.
Yes. Adults. I think that generation is now probably up into their 70s, 80s. But yeah, that one, I'm glad that died out because...
And then I hope when the clothes, when laundry was being done, I hope that those handkerchiefs were washed separately. Like you had a handkerchief basket where they all went, because the rest of your clothes in there, I mean, and these people they were honking. Oh boy, it was something else, aggressively blowing your nose in there. I never understood that. And yeah, the little black combs. Yeah. Right? It's been a long time since I used a comb.
Yes, but kids, I'm sure in the halls of Ewan Creek in the mid to late 80s, there was middle school boys that had those combs in their pocket, and the pockets weren't big enough so the comb would stick out the top of it.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a hair pick?
Dudes don't have picks.
Good.
All right, let's move on.
You got anything else on that lesson plan today?
Not that I can read. All right, Copper Country Sauna is the premier sauna builder in the Keweenaw, led by two brothers-in-law that share a passion for saunas and want to provide custom saunas to the Copper Country residents. When you're ready to throw some water on the rocks, visit our website at coppercountrysauna.com or give us a call at 906-281-9427. Listener time. No, interview time.
We got interview time. We had an interview last week, and this is a good one, and we're going to have this. There will be a part 2 with this one, no doubt. This is probably somebody from the Copper Country that a lot of people maybe have I don't want to say forgotten, but maybe just kind of as life goes on, they'll recall it. We sat down with an old friend, Kurt Godleveske, former L Anse Purple Hornet, played at Michigan Tech for a couple years, played at Northern for a couple years. I think I put him on my all-time UP dream team, as a matter of fact. And then he went on to a hell of a coaching career.
Yeah, he had a quick stint here in launch right away. People probably remember that. But Kurt's been out of the area for a little while. Hell of a player and a hell of a successful coach, too. And we'll talk about that a little bit here.
Well, and again, we're going to get him back on here because, like I said, that our limited Zoom always comes back to bite us in that regards. But yeah, I think we're going to really enjoy listening to our interview with former Purple Hornet, former Butler Bulldog head coach, Kurt Godleveske. Well, thanks for joining us today, Kurt. Always good to see you. Been far too long.
We got to start by asking you what we ask all of our people that we interview. Have you ever actually listened to this podcast?
I've not. I didn't even know you guys did it until um, we connected and Oj sent me a text just last week. So that's the first.
Well, I guess this interview's over.
What? I would have thought that was like 4 days ago. I would have thought you binge listened for. Oh,
Well, I'm getting ready to drive up there. So I plan on, I'm leaving tomorrow morning early. So I plan on listening to them all the way up.
oh, I'm sure everybody in the car will enjoy the hell out of that trip.
That's just me and my mom. So we're good.
Oh, man.
Mhm.
So we'll get, we'll touch on a number of things here, Kurt, but I think let's go right back to 1989-ish, the late 80s in Lance.
Mhm.
You did you come to Lance your senior year or was it your junior year? I don't remember exactly how it was, but we played against you. I was a sophomore,
Mhm.
but you had a hell of a team. Um,
Mhm.
Brian Stevie, Sherrard, Matson, Deline. Uh,
Mhm.
there you were.
Kempinen. Mhm.
Yep. Talk about that a little bit. Coming into Lance as not not growing up there, and just there you were with a decent bunch of ball players, and you're playing in Keweenaw Bay, and go through those memories a little bit.
Okay. Um, so I moved there my junior year in '87. So right a week before school starts. So my father retires from the Forest Service. My mom's grandparents are from that area, so we had that connection. Uh, and really, just in a basketball sense and purely human being perspective, I couldn't have been more fortunate because all those guys that you were talking about, Mike, were just terrific people and welcoming guys, and great to have as lifelong friends. Um, and really, when I first got there, uh, thankfully, those guys like me were very interested in working at the game and playing, and played a lot. And I think that's really why we by my senior year got to be very, very good. I wish that we would have been able to have Mickey Wirtz play for the total 2 years that I was there, because Mickey was a fantastic player. Probably didn't get the recognition maybe that he deserved because he was very athletic and could shoot it, and great defensively, and a really athletic 6'2" guy that we could have used my senior year. But those guys overall were like, all of our roles and all of our skill sets seemed to fit so well together, um, that I think that's really what made us work and made us go. But um, couldn't have been more fortunate to have that group of guys to play with the last 2 years of high school, and thankful that I ended up somewhere that probably a lot like you and Chalk Creek loves basketball. Got to ask you a quick question. Is it true that they leave a ball in the middle of the floor in the gym?
In the old gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if one is purposely left there now, but there's a rack in there. Gary Fours owns it.
Mm-hmm.
He, redid the roof. The floors redone every year. And I was there, I think it was maybe 2 summers ago, and just stopped at Gary's house, went over, opened up the gym, and I walked in. It was like, there it is. There's the smell. There's the old gym.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got all the sections behind the bleachers are dedicated to different decades, different players and whatnot. So it's really cool. And there's a rack right there. So I don't know about a ball. There was not a ball left in the middle at that point, but um, hell of a documentary about that gym. And
Should be, because that's one of the first stories that I heard when I moved to Lance was about you and Chalk Creek having a lot of interest and excitement, and the community just bought into, and how they take care of that place so that kids have someplace for anyone that's interested go anytime they want to be able to shoot. I think the other story that I heard a lot when I moved there was just about Houghton in general, about how good that group of guys was. when I first moved in. And that was our, who everybody in our town talked about that you're going to need to beat if you're going to want to win a district.
Yeah.
But Tom Romps and Mervick, and I mean those guys were. What were the two twins' names?
Sharks.
Who?
And Steve Sherrick.
Derek. Yes, yeah, those two guys were. I mean, and Hans Gappy, those guys, they had all the very similar to us. I think that's what was so weird. We upset them my junior year up there, and it was such a crazy basketball game. Like every quarter almost mirrored each other. They buried us in the first, we buried them in the second, and then they make a big run at us in the third, and then we make the run in the fourth and kind of hold them off down the stretch to win. But they were so similar to us that it was really good games. We played them 3 times, and they were all almost the same exact format in the district championship game, except in the game that we upset them, I hit like about a 27-footer to beat them, and then I missed about a 26-footer to lose in the district championship.
Well, Kurt, you guys had a great team. I was a little bit younger, and I remember watching you guys play. But I think one of the best parts is you guys were so good that you were able to, get the bench in there, and then Nubby could get some mop-up time and get on the floor and pretend he was an athlete.
What? One of the jokes always around town is that Nubby and I combined for about 50 one night. I had 48 and he had 2. That was always the joke around town. But yeah, and like I said, that group of guys, so much fun and really good friends. And of course, Nubby and I went on to room together most of our time through college. So,
I remember.
yeah, so good times.
So the next phase, obviously very, very talented, and you're going to play college basketball, and you start your career at Michigan Tech, which I appreciated. You get to watch you guys play, and then go on to play at Northern, have a great career at both places, in my opinion. Talk a little bit about what went into that decision and just the experiences playing college basketball in the GLIAC, because you guys had some nice squads down there at Northern at that time.
Yeah, we did, and probably missed out on being a part of a really good group. Probably would have started my junior year there at Tech. So we had kind of all the pieces starting to fit together. It was just so hard to win in that league, and if you had an injury here or just an off night there, it didn't matter if you were playing the top team or one of the better teams in Wayne State or Ferris. You were, the top teams were going to bury you if you're off, and the bottom teams were going to beat you if you had one of those things happen. But coming out of the high school, admired what my father had done, and wanted to be probably more like him than what I should have been thinking about what I was good at. So I went to Michigan Tech to get into forestry, and still love the outdoors. It just wasn't me, and that was probably my biggest academic mistake I made, because once I got into something that I was interested in, and health and your body and your movement, and it's more associated with basketball. And the education process, things really started to click for me. But I think the first year that I had there at Michigan Tech was probably the biggest learning experience and the most positive learning experience you could have, because I thought Jeff Johnston, JJ, he was my mentor, and he was maybe the best leader I'd been around at that point in time in my life. Very intellectual as far as the basketball game goes, but then getting people to buy in and do something for a common good, I thought he was excellent at. And then our coaching staff, it was interesting. They had went to I think it was they said they went to a clinic the year before I got there, and so they were transitioning into the Bob Knight motion offense, and that was obviously IU basketball was, everybody in our game and probably in football, when somebody starts taking off, it's like everybody wants to know what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they're teaching it. And with IU basketball taking off like it had in the 80s, and people really becoming very interested in learning more about the game and progressing the game, that they went down that road offensively, and it couldn't have been a better fit for me, because I'm not the guy that's going to beat you off the dribble or create space on my own. So playing off of people and playing without the ball in my hands and learning to do that, I thought was probably the biggest positive thing for me on the court that could have happened. And then taking that, when I got to Northern, we started transitioning into that, and thankfully down at Northern, Coach Matson and Coach Ellis, two really good coaches, with Coach Ellis being the all-time winningest coach there, and then both those guys are going into the NMU Hall of Fame, I think, which is awesome at the same time. And but that team down there was like the team that was eventually going to, I think, be there at Michigan Tech in a couple of years. Had all the pieces. Probably the best player I played with in college was there, Brandon Sager. Probably that was a steal for them. He was obviously too skinny, coming out of high school, but his basketball IQ and his skill level was much higher than a Division II skill level. And then we had complementary shooters with Kyle David, myself, Scott Spanstra, and then we had one of the toughest and hard-nosed players probably maybe to ever come out of the UP. We could probably have that conversation in Matt Wonders, but he was just hard-nosed and but like all of us, smart. We all knew how to play together and how to play off of each other. And then I really think my junior year, if Don Goheski, and it's the craziest thing, he dominates everybody in summer. I really didn't get to play against that guy a whole lot. My redshirt year down there, or it just doesn't stick with me as much. But he would have a chance to play in the NBA. He was crazy, crazy good. 6'10", could shoot the three. I legitimately seen him take off from just inside the free throw line and tomahawk on people. And we get ready to start practice, and we get to 2 weeks in, and all of a sudden he's just done. It's like they discover that he's got no cartilage left in both of his knees, and he can't run, can't do anything. So I think my junior year, and we were still very good. We just had it threw Mike Gabala into the spotlight, and Mike was probably another one like Brandon that eventually became the guy that they got a heck of a steal with him and going to a Division II level, because at nights he would play like a Division I guy, and then he would have freshman nights, and but we were still very, very good with him. And then he became an outstanding, unbelievable player and played overseas for, made his living and career over there. And now he does very, very well he works for GM in Canada. But just a lot of a collective group of guys that I would classify as smart, understood how to play without the basketball in their hands, and then had some really good skill guys that could do some stuff individually and one-on-one. And when you have 2 back-to-back seasons where you win 20 plus games in 2 years in the GLIAC, you had to be very, very good, because Wayne States of the world and Ferris was very good, and Grand Valley had, I think my sophomore year, just they were the number one team in the country, and you just didn't have any nights to take off, because if you were going to get penalized for it.
Well, we just in our last episode that Oj and I just aired, we had an interview with Matt Wonders' son Foster on, and talking with him, and because we've known Foster's, with our kids coming through, but you gotta tell a story for us here. Apparently, there was a time where you went down to Stevens Point and you competed against Oj.
Mhm.
I don't even know how the game went. I think it's irrelevant to the story, but then
They beat us.
they beat you,
They got us. Yeah.
and then true or false, Oj picked you up from the hotel, and you guys went out and celebrated, or drowned your sorrows, I guess is one way to look at
Yeah. That was true.
it.
And I wish I could remember how that whole conversation came about. If it came, I'm pretty sure it came about in the handshake line.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I go, we got done with the handshake line and the conversation happened right there. And you seemed willing and I was ready. So I picked you up. Yeah, that was fun times, and we've had others. And of course, you were older than me. I think I only played against you the 1 year.
Mhm.
But so we'll get through that. But you get into coaching again, and it pretty much starts head coach wise. If I'm getting this right, back at Lance, correct? You had a little
Yeah.
Lake State, but let's get into the Lance because that's where I got to know you again a little bit. I'm starting out at Calumet trying to get a program going there, and you walk
Mhm.
into Lance and you had a team. I mean, you had Fish, Danner, Lloyd, that group, and you had a really good ball club, and there you were back in your hometown coaching again. You weren't there long, but you had a huge game in the regionals at Tech when they switched it. Correct? I think it might have been the last year that the regionals were at Tech when you guys played Westwood. Am I right
Well,
in that?
the m- my first year we were in regionals and actually lost to your alma mater at Northern in the Berry, and then that next year they moved it back to Tech,
Okay,
which I
so.
thought was as close as you can get to Hedgecock, because I watched you your senior year just play a whale of a game against North Dickinson um, in the regionals. I don't know if there was anything for all of us UP guys that for basketball lovers was anything better than regionals. And
You really got to listen to this pod on the way
Yeah,
up. We go off on the Hedgecock and not a better place for high school sports.
no, no, and it was those were really good teams that I had in Lance, and thankful that me as a individually got to play in a regional game at Hedgecock's. It was amazing and fun, and the atmosphere that you would want every high school basketball player to experience. It was
yeah, for sure.
truly special. But no, to answer your question, those group of guys, probably just like any team that is good, they had involved parents that did the right things with them, and they had a willingness and a desire to get better. And I was young and inexperienced, and think about that group a lot, because I think that if I would have been able to coach them 10 years later in my coaching career, they would have been much better off. Like they got gypped because they were good, and that was the right time in the UP to be good in that class. Obviously, Westwood was still very, very talented, and Irv was a very good high school basketball coach. And that kind of Irv kind of really pushed me, that because that loss. I mean, you guys bring that up. That loss really bothered me for a long,
Yeah,
long time.
I remember
It's
the
too
game.
bad
I
because
remember the
I
game
think it was
well.
your game. I think it was your game that Tyler got hurt. you remember that?
I do, yeah.
And me being young and dumb, I was trying to get us back home to rest. And he goes to make a steal, and I'm just trying to get to a running clock because we had to turn around. Because I was really worried about Hancock the next night because Hancock was good enough that if we didn't play well, they could have made the game very interesting. And he ends up getting a deep, deep thigh bruise that he just never. The craziest thing, he could just never get going, even though. How did that work? We turned around. We played in the championship of the district on a Tuesday, maybe, and had to turn around on, or was it Saturday, and then turned around and play the first game of regionals on Thursday, and then the Class C was on Saturday. And even by Thursday, I played him as much as I had to beat Manistee. But he just never could get going. And I can't remember the big kid's name that they had, but he was physical and muscular enough to give Tyler a fit, and he could just never get going.
Yeah, so that was it. But you certainly had a crew there, and I feel for you and think about those. That was one hell of a team, and coach against it, but that was a chance there against the Irv Dealey Westwoods crew to get through with Lance. So, from there, then it's you're back to Indiana.
Yeah, going back, I believe back to high school, girls, I believe.
Yes.
Very, very successful state championship team. Basketball community, from what I understand. Great success there, and then that springboarded you into the Division I coaching.
Yeah. Had a perfect time, perfect place situation. When I moved back, I was the 7th coach in 12 years at the school. The expectations were enormously, and still are enormously high for our girls basketball program here. Couple, obviously, because of the number of coaches down the road, but a legend in Pete Pritchett was the longtime coach here when I was little. And his coaching record, Oj, is sickening. Something like 200. I have to go back and look. 200 and something and 12 or something like that. He wins multiple state championships, goes to like 4 games in like a 12-year period, and he was absolutely an amazing coach. But I was in the right place at the right time, where when I took the job, because of the expectations, and if you didn't win, you were not going to be coached very long. It was very much like that. And I told my wife Beth when I took the position, if I make it 4 years, that will be a long time in this role. But let's go down and see what we can do. And we both wanted to be back down in the community and thought it would be a great place to raise a family. And it was close by her family, and it was, and it still is. But they had a group of girls when I first got here that were talented, had not been coached. And at that point in time, I had enough experience that I knew what to do with them, and knew what I wanted to do, and knew how I wanted to play, and it fit. And so we started winning. And then at that time, I had a group of 5th grade girls that would eventually be the state championship team, that had a group of parents that were taking them everywhere. And of course, one of the dads and that was coaching them was huge Indiana legend, and Damon Bailey.
Yeah, that's right.
He was coaching them, and our ideals and what we were teaching them were the exact same. It was from our youth and from our coach. And so when those girls got here, they knew everything that we were doing inside and out. Then we got very, very fortunate. We had two girls move into the community. One ended up playing Division II in Brittany Rizzi. Could have been a low Division I player, but she could shoot the lights out from anywhere. And if you got a girl player in high school and even in college that can shoot it from anywhere, that's going to be a problem for other teams. And it really spread the floor with her and Sammy Dillman and their ability to shoot it. And the other girl that moved in was a 6'2", 6'3". She could play point guard. She could play center. Number 15 player in the country, and Dominique McBride. She was absolutely tremendous and we could run and do anything with her that we wanted to, and it was gonna score. The only thing that you had to do with Dominique every once in a while was get into her and take her to understand how good she was. She was just out that how good she was, but once you were playing that hard, she was really, really good. And then we had a 6'3" lady that played at Michigan State, and Jenna Allen, and Damon's daughter, Alexa Bailey, and we had some really nice complimentary people off the bench, and that team just, I think they lost one game in a 2-year span when they won the back-to-back state championships, and they were just really, really good. And all that talent they had, right place, right time, had all these colleges calling me, and one of them happened to be Butler. And then at that time, John Barnes had gone to Youngstown State.
Never heard of him.
So John and I were talking, and I was kind of interested in giving college basketball an opportunity again if I had the opportunity. And John had just taken the Youngstown State job. We were talking and kind of going back and forth about, how much would coaching salary be at Youngstown, and would really be interested in going there. I think he was very interested in possibly having me come there, and I was very interested in going there. And Butler's recruiting my kids, and Tisha Hill, who used to be the former head coach at Youngstown State, calls me one day to talk to me about my kids. And I said, hey, I got a question for you. How much do you think that an assistant would make there? And she said, well, if you're going to go there, why don't you just come here and work? Well, have your boss call me if she's interested. So, because at the time we weren't really interested in leaving Indiana. And so we get connected and we start talking and think that it's a mutually good fit. And so I ended up at Butler and learned a lot my first year. And we had a lot of talent, and they had made several steps. They had gone from the Horizon League to the A10 the year before I got there to now. My first year, we transitioned in the Big East, and we finished sixth. But in that industry, if your group of girls or team is not happy, and those group of girls were not happy, the head coach ended up moving on, and I was ready to go back to Bedford. I wasn't going to coach. I was just going to teach. And athletic director Barry Collier said, I'm going to name you interim. And I said, are you going to allow me to interview? And yes, I think I'm going to allow you to interview. And so I right place, right time, make the most of the opportunity and situation, and end up getting, what all skipping an arrow. That goes back to PE class back at Northern. I skipped an arrow and got lucky and got the head job. And people ask me all the time if I miss it. I don't think I miss it, especially now. I mean, I haven't experienced the NIL stuff, but that just kind of has left a sour taste in my mouth about, you look at what you and I did, and Division III experience to Division II is not much different, but I was just grateful for the opportunity to play, and I don't see that a lot now in college athletics because of the money. But I do miss from the basketball perspective, and I probably will always miss because I don't think I'll get to experience that again, is just the constant studying and research and learning and talking to other coaches and having the ability and the time, because that was my job to do that, was to learn and continue to grow and get better and figure out ways to make my team better. And I know you guys have talked to Kevin Borseth on here, but the year that we were really good at Butler was mainly because he was gracious enough and to sit down with me for, I think I was in his kitchen for 4 hours, just really lay out and talk about defensively what he teaches, how he teaches it, rotations and switching and different scenarios that happen, matches, and how he handles it. And so I took all that from that conversation. And so if I ever have a young guy or a young lady that ever wants to sit down with me and ask me questions, and which I have a lot now that I'm getting old. I don't think they do that a lot when we're younger, but now that I'm getting older, have that opportunity to mentor. But thanks to him, that team ended up winning 23 games, and it was solely because of what we did defensively. We went from being a mediocre to poor to I think we had the 11th best defensive team in the country that year with that group of girls, and it's all because of Kevin Bork. So I'm going to miss that.
Well, that's great stuff. Your story is only second to Shane Burkhart's screwing this over there getting the NAU job. So. But
Is that what he was doing? Was he coaching AAU basketball when he got in?
No, he was coaching at Mesa High School.
Okay. So he went west.
Yeah.
And just got fortunate enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you'll have to listen to some of these old episodes with him on. But yeah,
I'm not going to miss them throughout the year, because I'll be very interested in listening to him and his experiences with it, because he probably doesn't get he probably has some of the NIL issues, but in situations, I call them issues, because it's like, how do you get the money for him at his level? Maybe they have, I don't understand their financial situation, but that to me, it would be more of a issue than a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's good stuff, Kurt. I mean, we're running out of a little time, but
I think we gotta probably this summer at some point probably sit around a campfire when he's in town here, and we got to get all this stuff squared away.
That would be good. Because there's so many other things. So we're running out of time on the podcast. What kind of hell of a podcast is this if we have limited time?
Well, we're cheap.
Yeah, we got the free Zoom, so we only got 3 minutes left.
Do we need to take a commercial break and come back?
I can stop it and start the next one if you want to keep talking.
Oh, there's so many things. I mean, you get me talking about basketball. There's so many things I'd like to get into, like
okay, well,
just about UP basketball, and we haven't even gotten into that. Like, how good was UP basketball?
Okay, well, I'm gonna.
Here's what we need. No, but we just do a part 2. Can we do this again?
Well, let's just. Yeah. I have it set up. I just got to stop this. I'll start the next one, then I'll just bet. Then I'll fix it all together.
Let's come back and do it if you don't mind, Andy.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm leaving in the morning to come up to God's country, so.
Do it again another time?
No.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, he wants to do it another time. Yeah, so we should. But before we get off of this one, I mean, we got what, 2 minutes left?
2 minutes left.
We catch heat for this all the time. We've had more interviews with this, and they go, "Why the hell don't you guys just get something better while we're cheap?" But let us know what you're up to now. I mean, we're back to the Yoop again, Kurt.
Yeah. So took a job back in Gwynn as an elementary principal. I'm very excited about it. Just seemed like the right place, right fit. And looking forward to being back up there and with all my friends and family, and helping take care of my mom, and really excited about that. I miss the Marquette area, and I miss the Keweenaw. Like, the Keweenaw is my place, and looking forward to spending a lot of time up there.
Well, I can tell you from all tens of our fans that we have here at SS3TP, we're glad to have you back in the UP, Kurt. Appreciate talking with us tonight. It's been far too long. Wish you and your family nothing but the best up here back in the UP.
I appreciate it, guys.
Next time we do this, we'll get Christian Wilson in there and talk some UP sports.
That's what we need to do. That would be great. So, how come you only get? Do you have to pay for the amount of time?
Yeah, but we
Do I
only
need to send you a check so I can talk more?
yeah, exactly.
I'll let you know afterwards what to make it out for, but yeah.
Oach even knows how to use Venmo now. That's crazy. It's a crazy world we're living in.
Good to see
Thanks, guys.
you
This is
talking
awesome.
here.
I can't wait to listen to him tomorrow.
All right,
All
we'll be
right,
in touch.
see you soon, Kurt.
All
Thanks.
right, take care.
Located 8 miles south of Lake Linden on the Bojack Road, the Dreamland Restaurant's your choice for great dining. Family owned and operated for over 100 years. Whether you're in the mood for their Mexican Monday specials, burgers, pizza, or Friday fish fry, Dreamland is your next stop. We got a variety of questions here today, Oj. We got a couple rants and other things like that, but let's start with our new fan, Swampy Steve.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks for old Swampy on the pod. It's good to have new fans.
Yes. Hey, Crouchy and Oj, appreciate the insights and sorry in advance for ignorant questions. I think I met you jokers in Mass City at Tig's Bar back in 12. I attached the photo to confirm and really appreciate the homemade booze. Good times. I've been getting this question a lot. Soup or salad? I don't think there's any question with either one of us, right? No, soup. For sure. Not even close. Favorite Greg Evigan roll? There is only one good answer. So I pose this to you guys. If you start long hauling, what non-primate are you bringing with you? Oh yeah, this is a sports pod. Who are some of your favorite Battle of the Network Stars athletes? And if assembling a team today, who's in it and events? Thanks again, Swampy Steve.
Holy Christ.
Well, first of all, soup and salad. You and I are both soup fans. I like salad, but I'm always trying new soups. Greg Evigan rolls. Is that the guy that was in like My Two Dads? BJ and the Bear, maybe. I don't really know a lot about him.
I'm learning right now.
Yeah.
Why is this Swampy such a fan of this guy?
Yeah, I have no idea.
He's 71 years old.
Was that BJ and the Bear, dude?
BJ and the Bear. I don't even know what the hell that is. My Two Dads. You're right.
Okay.
You are on it.
Well, that's 80 sitcoms.
General Hospital.
Yep, not a fan. Big news on Young and the Restless too. Going to be a big reveal this week, but
Yeah, I have never heard of this guy, so Swampy gets a check mark on that one. What the hell else?
Battle of the Network Stars. I never got into that.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, Howard Cosell was on there and that, but all right. Thanks.
Anything else on there? It's a long.
I guess what we've established that we're both soup guys.
If you are long hauling with a non-primate, who are you bringing? And by the way, that picture. Did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's maybe that was Swampy to the right of Billy Antela.
Yeah, that was definitely not us.
No,
we don't look very good, but we're not that old just yet.
2012, I think. I'm fairly certain that was Billy Antela who was the owner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who the other guy was, unless that is Swampy.
Could be.
So anyway, thanks. He is not suspended, but flirting with it.
Howdy, boys. Howdy, Paul. Is there any chance in the world that Paul Skeens will not be pitching for the Dodgers or Yankees in a few years when he becomes a free agent? And what odds would you give on the Tigers keeping Skubal? Paul from Boise.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Did you see? Speaking of Skeens, have you looked at his stats?
Yeah.
I just
He's like 4 and 6 or something right now.
It's it's a crazy ass deal about his number of starts. His ERA is under 1.8, and I don't know, the win total is whatever it is. But I mean, Pittsburgh is. You think the Brewers have a tough time scoring runs? Pirates are ridiculous and not helping him at all. I don't know what's going to happen there. I can't imagine Pittsburgh is able to pay the money that they need for Paul Skeens and then be able to build a team around him.
Not a chance.
You know, so he's going to be gone, and probably right. That's the nature of it, and it sucks. But I'm sure it'll be a Dodger or a Yankee or a Met, right?
How about the Tigers? Wouldn't he be a great fit with the Tigers?
It'd be a nice 1-2 top of the rotation.
Sure would, because his second part of this question, the Tigers need to do whatever they can to keep Skubal. He's the best in the biz.
And they might be in a little better situation, I think, than Pittsburgh to be able to do that, because they've got a pretty good young group around him right
Yes.
now. They're gonna obviously have to sign some of those guys, but you know Detroit is trying to put something together right now. Their brass got to be thinking about that and locking him in, because he's something special. And speaking of something special, Jacob Mizorowski the other night,
I saw that.
yeah, he comes out. That's the Brewer flamethrower that was just called up for his major league debut. And another funny part of that, did you see Aaron Savali? He was the veteran
Yes,
pitcher.
I was laughing when yesterday we were at the golf thing, and Magic brought up, oh, he's got traded. I said, yep, contract year, didn't want to play in the bullpen.
Yeah, he did not want to pitch.
Sayonara.
Exactly, and that was his deal, right? He wanted to finish the year as a starter because it's a contract year. And where did the Brewers trade him?
Chicago White
To
Sox.
the White Sox. So enjoy your time on the south side. And they got a first baseman, doesn't even matter, I don't care who they got.
But they got rid of him in the locker room because he was going to be a problem.
Yeah, so anyway, next is B-Dubs, she's back. Gentlemen, super impressed with Oj stepping up his research game last episode, thank you.
She's going to be really impressed with the lesson plan this week.
Well, on to my question. I can still remember where I was when I heard that Yankees catcher Thurman Munson died. What athlete's death shocked you the most? Yeah, she was out that way in New Jersey,
Right.
gal from way back when. So Thurman Munson, yeah, man, what a career he would have had, right?
Yep.
We mentioned this question the other day. There's one that came to me automatically, and then I got one on tier 2.
Well, I think you're obviously referring to the Colby one.
Sure.
That was tragic, obviously. But you know what one came to mind? And I had to look up the date on that, but it would have been in, I think, February of 1990. So you would have been a junior, I would have been a sophomore. And I remember where I was 10th grade, watching TV in my bedroom, and this came across during basketball season.
All right, shoot, I'm lost.
When Hank Gathers died on the court.
That's a good one.
And again, not that I even knew who he was at the time, but the whole tragic events there, and then how Paul Westphal got those guys, Loyola Marymount, to make that run, and Bo Kimball shooting with the wrong hand. And
That's
so
a good one.
I guess that was one that I kind of, that really, I remembered. I didn't know exactly if it was 90 or 91, but I remember like seeing that, like watching a game, and they broke into, that he had passed on the court, and they showed the video. And
Kobe was, I remember it not mainly, that was a big, larger than life star in the NBA, obviously, but it was kind of in like our boys' wheelhouse, their time when they were growing up, whatever, and that he was the man then, right?
It would have kind of been like if Michael Jordan went at our age.
Exactly. So we were down at the lake, right where I'm at now, and when he passed away, so they were down there with me, and I think that probably, makes it a little more memorable. But the other one I thought of, and it's kind of odd because it's not a sport that I've been a fan of or ever watched, but that was where I'm going.
Number
right?
3?
Yeah, when Dale Earnhardt, and it still blows my mind after some of those ridiculous crashes that you see in those races. Cars in 15 parts going every which direction, and guys are walking off, and then he hits that wall at the exact speed and time and everything to have that tragic event happen where he was killed on the racetrack. So that was one I thought of too.
I remember that we were young in our teaching career, and I remember having some middle school kids that were actually pretty shaken by that. Obviously you and I are not car racing fans, but there's a large chunk of the population that was, and that's a good one there, Oj.
Mosquitoes are getting bad in his garage, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's summer.
Let's go.
You're up.
Okay. Happy Father's Day to both of you and the fathers amongst your tens of fans. Very nice. I have been watching a bit more baseball this year. I was always taught the strike zone was between the midpoint of the shoulder to the bottom of the knees. It seems that most games now have a superimposed strike zone that doesn't change in size. Shouldn't this zone change depending on the height of the batter? Isn't this unfair to umpires calling the games, who will certainly draw the ire of the fans watching the games at home? Appreciate your thoughts. I hate that thing. I totally agree with him.
I do too.
It doesn't change, it's always there, but it drives me nuts, and I can't stand it. It makes me, back in the day, we could complain about a ball or strike, but now it's, every single one is there, and it just, I start thinking about the wrong things instead of just the game or the next pitch or whatever, right? You get worked up over these damn umps, so I wish they would take that out of there.
Well, you're using technology in a situation that is human judgment. You have an umpire behind the plate with a batter and a catcher in front of him with a mask on, people throwing the ball 100 miles an hour that's moving all over the place, and they are making, in their best judgment, a call of the location. So anytime it's outside that box that they put on the TV, they get criticized. I challenge anybody who questions all this, get a mask and go up a Little League game and see what's going on. So I don't like it at all because you're really putting a lot of pressure on the human aspect of it. Now, are they going to, maybe someday they'll change it to all digital, not need an umpire, but until then, get it out.
Yeah, and then they're, they can really zoom in on how that ball hit that little edge, and then the home announcers are complaining that it should have been called strike 3, blah, blah, blah. So I agree, that thing drives me nuts, but I'll be watching it later today, bitching at the youngsters, screwing that Brewers. We got 2 more here.
He's got a PS. Cask and Flag and Dwayne has a
God.
PS. I have to admit that
Have we ever had a PS on this?
I won't say it. I don't know. And again, this is kind of self-serving on his part. Poor Ed from Waukesha. I have to admit that I blew off meeting Ed from Waukesha at the Cask and Flag in Boston. I don't believe I would have been able to handle his constant complaining. The beer is too cold, Boston fans are too cool, etc. Also, my reputation would have been ruined if the locals heard his pronunciation of sauna. I just couldn't take the risk.
Yeah, it's all legit reasons for staying home.
Plus, word on the street is Ed from Waukesha might be rolling into town this week.
Well, things have changed a little.
Soccer team?
Yes, he texted me yesterday. His daughter's soccer team. I think that from what it sounds, it's kind of been a Cinderella story for this team. Like, I don't know if they were supposed to win that first round of the tournament, and lo and behold, they advanced. His daughter was, I think, she was called up. She's only a sophomore, I believe, but on that team for the tournament run, and they won sectional or regional or whatever the hell it's called in Wisconsin at this point. So they've advanced and they play next week. So we found out yesterday that Ed will not be making the trip next week, but he did say, let's look at some other dates. So stay tuned.
Oh, that'd be big. It's been a while since Ed made her up here. All right, you want to take care of the milkman?
Oh, I'd like to take care of the milkman. Do we have that written somewhere?
I don't, because it was 14 pages long. And
who said that? That was to you and I, right?
Yes.
Let me find that.
I think it came via text from Matthew.
Yeah. This could be. All right, here we go. Listeners, you might want to kick back for this one. I started watching your podcast. It's still the watching thing, a little creepy. Episode 86, when an SS3TP link popped up on my phone over Christmas from one of those AI communist platforms. Holy smokes. Like Game of Thrones or Landman, he's paying attention. I was hooked and had to listen to them all from episode 1 with the reticent OCD and FOMO, what the hell he's talking about, hoping not to be fired from my job. I am now caught up with all episodes. That's impressive.
I would never go back and listen to those first ones. I'd probably start at like 25 or something. Those first ones were awful.
I can't even imagine how we did that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that'll be out when they do the documentary on us.
You even begin to listening to those Bucks and Booze folks. That's awesome. It's your Uper stories, accents. We have accents?
You betcha.
Opinions on sports, and some nonsense information that keeps me coming back. I'm sure your tens of fans have a similar addiction. Barring one of Crouchy's popular lines, to be honest, you guys have said some things that have made me publicly laugh so damn hard that people think I'm either epileptic or high.
Sorry about that.
For example, when Oj said, "Is cricket that game played on horses?" I nearly drove off the road. Crouchy has provided most hilarious lines through and through, very quick slapstick fashion. Oj was explaining one time, I do not have any idea how to use those cell phone apps, which Crouchy confidently responded before Oj could even finish his words, I believe you. Followed by a moment of silence. My goodness, that was classic. We're still not done, but I'm still reading. Ever since March 15th, 1981, when Jim Henson's The Muppet Show ended, nobody has been able to replace those two old guys in the balcony until now. Statler and Waldorf were smiling. I would have never known.
I would never have known their names.
Smiling in their graves now that you have taken their place in educating, entertaining the world. Not sure who is, but I'll let you pick. 2 questions for you. As you can tell, I'm getting tired of reading. Number 1.
I should have went took a pee.
Who is your favorite Muppets character? And number 2, what would be your baseball at-bat walk-up song? If we get this question one more time, whoever sends in a walk-up baseball song question, you are automatically suspended. Guitars, Cadillacs is mine. That's about the 5th time.
I don't know what I said. Probably Hell's Bells or. Back
Hope you guys enjoy your summer break. UP style, you've earned it. Oj, I also hope you were at lacrosse last night. Lacrosse last night for the obvious reason. So I'm thinking this, if he says last night, this was written Saturday, a week ago Saturday, I believe, because it was in lacrosse that Friday night, other than Brad Parker.
Some music fest, some concert. Dwight,
yeah. Dwight, the Mavericks, 49 Winchester. Brad and Mel went down there for that.
I've actually listened to 49 Winchester. They're a newer band, I think.
Yes.
I actually have listened to them, believe it or not.
They were the freshman team, and then the Mavericks were the JV game, and then Dwight was the varsity performance. So anyway, that was a long one, but it was pretty cool compliments from the Milkman. All the best. Hockley, Texas. Mike Doe. It must be thin there.
I have no
Of
idea.
all the Finnish words I've heard, I don't know what the Finn word for milk is. Anyway, that's the Milkman. So thank you. Some compliments in there somewhere.
So are we, as far as his question about the Muppet characters, are we the 2 old guys
I
in the
think that's what
balcony?
he was referring to, Bentley and Hackley or whatever
Yeah.
they're called. We gotta get him a can koozie.
Okay, there's 150 of them right there. You can grab one on the way out.
Yeah, and get it to Hockley, Texas.
Yeah, I'm good being the old guys in the balcony. I think we kind of are. I think that emulates us.
Yeah, I was a Muppets fan. I watched them.
Be like Miss Piggy.
Who didn't? She had an attitude. Probably Oscar though. I mean, that was my favorite scene there down when he popped out the garbage can and all those guys were sitting down there singing away. So anyway, good stuff. Did we answer both? What was the other one?
Sure. All right, we got one last question here, and this is from Jesse from Appleton. You all know who he's a fan of. And today he's a little different. He goes, I have no questions this week, just rants. So he's not even asking questions. He just wants to use our platform.
Using us? Yep.
Yeah. Here's his rants. Number 1, wearing sunglasses to a press conference after a game. I'm on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 2, you're going to love this one. Millennials in the sauna with their gallon jugs of water and rattling the metal thing in their blender bottle, saying bro every 3 words.
Boy, he's in a mood, eh?
Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
You don't. When you go to the gym, you don't have your blender bottle with the metal thing and they're shaking it.
When the sauna is that whole world has changed this summer compared to my early morning preschool days over there. I'll get into that another time, but yeah, I'm on board with him on that one too.
Number 3, oven mitts for base runners are ridiculous.
We've talked about that. I think he actually brought this up before.
Again, he's using us. They are ridiculous, but whatever.
Well, they just look stupid too.
Yes, they do. Hold the gloves in your hand, whatever. I appreciate it because I jam my wrist sliding, but just take your batting glove off and hold them. Whatever. And this is Jesse's education level right here. Swinging on an 0-3 count when you are losing. If you're 0-3, aren't you struck out?
That's what he put?
That's what he put. I assume he's going to mean a 3-0 count.
Well, you can only read it how it was written, right? I mean, that's how he did it. So yeah, swinging away on 0-3. Good luck with that. I think he needs to have a IPA and take the edge off today.
There's a good chance of it. It is Father's Day. I'm sure he'll be in his garage blowing the dirt out.
3 times, and he showered 3 times. That's what he does. So not only, and I'm sorry, but the listeners got to know this.
They do.
How whacked out this guy is. Do you know anybody who blows out his garage 3 times a day and showers 3 times a day? I wonder if he showers after each blowing.
It could be.
All right, we should move on. Let's not be talking about blowings here.
Oh, but he does need his pee-pee whacked.
Are we on to Listen to Lyrics?
We are.
Whew. Listen to Lyrics is brought to you by Keweenaw Auto Body, located on Pine Street in Calumet. Quality collision and body repair since 1966. Stop by anytime, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday for a free estimate, or give them a call at 906-337-1203. If you want to hear a hell of a Beach Boys song, God Only Knows, listen to that one later today. It's a good one.
And just so our listeners know, for all the ripping I do on Listen to Lyrics, this is actually one of my favorite all-time songs today.
That's certainly not why. I'll tell you what. That's not why I played it, but this is not a typical Listen to Lyrics song for me. And the main reason is it's because it's kind of a novelty song. It'd be like, same reason that if I do an Alan Jackson, I'm going to, an Alan Jackson song, it's not going to be Chattahoochee, right?
Good.
So anyway, I'm guessing 90% of our listeners will be able to at least sing along with it, maybe know the chorus, so it's pretty popular. But the main reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to teach you and everyone else a little something about the history of how it was written. The song was recorded multiple times, and the 2 most popular versions were by Darius Rucker and the Old Crow Medicine Show. You already expressed to me your opinion on those 2 options.
I love the Old Crow version. I hate the Darius Rucker version.
Now, Ketch Secor, who is one of the long-standing members of the Medicine Show, actually first heard bits and pieces of this chorus, which was written but unfinished by none other than the great Bob Dylan.
I did know that.
You did.
I did know that, yes.
So Secor got permission from Dylan to add the lines and to finish the song, making it what it is today. So enjoy Wagon Wheel, a song by Ketch Secor of Old Crow Medicine Show and the great Bob Dylan.
All right, Oj, again, it's one of my favorite songs. I like that version better. And then,
Hi, Beth.
so that's my favorite LTL to this point. We will be hitting the road this week. We got a big time interview lined up with somebody that is going to be really good to talk to. We're really hoping the weather.
Don't say where we're going either.
No, we're not going to
give it away.
Our driver will pick us up and.
Yeah, well, hey, I have a towel down on your seat. That's how nerved up I am. All right, so I swapped the car seat over to the driver's side and a towel for you. No chips in there tomorrow.
Oh, I thought you were worried I have to pee. See you, Oj.
Talk to you later, Coachy.